Well, welcome everyone to the session Meals to Go. We are really excited to have our presenters here today. It's Tom and Rachael Sullivan. I met this couple in a bit of a unique way. They are a bit TikTok and Instagram famous, and I had no idea that they were local to Raleigh. And I'm going to, in a moment, share the videos that made them famous. And then they're going to talk to us today about a program that they've started called Meals to Go. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Tom and Rachael became a little bit famous when some videos that they had sent on Instagram and TikTok, they went viral. And so I'm going to drop in the chat if you want to see some of their fame. They've been featured on shows like the Today Show and the Rachael Ray Show. They are locals to Raleigh, and Rachael went to college here in North Carolina, although they're not natives to Raleigh. She is an App State alum. And so I'm going to go ahead and share the TikToks that started this whole program. And let me know if you cannot hear this.
This condition that could affect my fertility. So for the last year, my husband's been helping me regulate my hormones through food, so I wouldn't have to go on birth control because I'm just trying to have little giants like him, you know? So here I am on Instagram that showed me people you might know, and my husband's name with the account Meals She Eats pops up, and it's all this adorable food he's been cooking me, and he even uses little hashtags. And I literally love this man so much, and there's nothing I want more in life than to just have his babies.
So that turned into the next video.
After posting the TikTok about adopting the college kid named Kevin, we had a ton of people ask if they too could be adopted. My husband Tom and I were very fortunate in college to have people that fed us a home cooked meal and just in general supported us. Now we have this opportunity to give back, and we want to be able to provide a tasty, healthy home cooked meal to other local college students in the area. Over Memorial Day weekend, we posted a story on Instagram asking if any of those kids would be interested in Meals to Go if they didn't have a chance to go home and be with their families over the holiday. We had them bring Tupperware and provided extras just in case. It was a lot of fun. The kids who were awesome, and this is something we now want to continue to do in the future.
So we've invited Tom and Rachael here today to talk through this new program called Meals to Go and maybe share a bit more of their backstory, tell us a little bit more about college kid Kevin, who is an NC State student. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tom and Rachael for this discussion.
Thank you for that introduction.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for giving us some of your time and allowing us to share some of our story with you. Can you hear me okay? Thumbs up. Good.
Okay.
So we're both from Chicago. We moved to Raleigh almost 2 years ago and had the joy of COVID hitting almost immediately.
After we moved here.
So we didn't get to meet a ton of people. And I guess going into how I started cooking.
Yeah.
So I started cooking about 12 years ago as a hobby, something to do after work, something to de-stress. Which eventually led to us doing Whole30 right before we got married. That's when I started kind of diving into what we eat, what we put into our body, what's in the food. And that really started kind of teaching Rachael about some of the things that affect her.
Yeah. So Whole30 is basically an elimination diet. And so after we went through the 30 days, I realized that I had a gluten intolerance, and there was aspects of dairy that it was affecting me as well. So I went and had a diagnosis from the doctor, and they diagnosed me with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. I had an ultrasound on my uterus, and it came back with cysts, and I had a hormone imbalance along with irregular periods and smaller things like mood swings and sleep apnea that also are like common symptoms of PCOS. So one of the ways that they recommend managing this is through birth control, and we're trying to start a family, so that wasn't an option for us. So Tom really started diving into cooking. with clean ingredients, simple ingredients. And we really started doing like a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. So that's in that first video that you guys saw. He started an Instagram account kind of documenting all of this that I didn't know about. And
purposely, because I wanted to just get the recipes up and didn't care what the pictures looked like or how it went. So
or he knew I would
I
probably
wanted to keep it a
pretty.
secret.
So I found out about it on Instagram actually, and it was like recommended people you may know, like you saw in the video, and his name popped up, and it was all of these pictures of the food he was making me. And so I posted this video and that went viral, and that's how our following started. So our page started initially as just a place for, to help women manage their PCOS and the foods he was cooking for my diet.
Yeah, and we found different foods during different phases of her cycle, help balance out the hormones. Her body needs different things at different times. So the diet and kind of what I was cooking was really based around those things. So that's what initially started it.
That's what started like the page. So as our following grew, obviously now that we're local in North Carolina, that grew as well. And
then we met
College Kid Kevin.
And then it transitioned into College Kid Kevin. So the quick backstory: when she was at App State, College Kid Kevin's parents helped her. They were neighbors of a friend of a friend. So it's like 4 people removed. Rachel it's 10 hours to get back to Chicago. So she'd come to Raleigh during holidays when she couldn't get all the way back. And when we moved here, we found out their kid's going to NC State, and I happened to see him at the gym. And really met him. I actually snapped the picture and was like, "Is that Kevin?" And like a lot of college kids, I walked up and talked to him, and he had got kicked out of his dorms. I shouldn't say kicked out, but they
closed the dorms for COVID.
Obviously, the cafeteria is closed, and like hitting the weight room and trying to bulk up, and he's talking to me about his nutrition and what he's trying to do in the weight room and his macros. And I played college football, so I have a lot of background in that. So he was asking me a bunch of questions, and then he kind of brought up the cafeteria is being closed, which was, a bummer for him, just moving out of his house and trying to fend for himself. And I just offered a meal. I said, "Hey, I think we were having steak and something." I said, "It'll fit perfect in your diet. I'll make some extra." And that just turned into, and like all college kids, like he's got a job and he's running around. So it literally was like, "Here's the Tupperware," and he ran.
And he would run out. He would just come in, grab the food, and leave.
And then after a couple times, he got comfortable and started hanging around more and asking more questions. And it just turned into a regular thing. Every time we cooked, we'd throw some extra. And then his roommates started coming. One time I cooked hot wings that were unbearably hot. So I said, "You guys want to have a hot wing challenge? I'll give you guys steaks if you can finish these." So his roommates got involved, and that's when Rachel made a TikTok.
So I made a TikTok about Kevin coming to pick up the Tupperware, and I just had a bunch of little clips of it.
And him returning Tupperware each time with it clean.
And I was like, we adopted this college kid. And all of there was thousands of comments. I think it had 13 million views. 13
million people saw it, and the comments went crazy.
And all the comments were like, "I wish I could be adopted. Like, I wish there was something like this in my community. Like, who will adopt me?" So that's when Tom and I were like,
Yeah, and some people started transitioning into our Instagram and messaging me directly. And I said, "Should we just give this a go?" Well, we didn't advertise it kind of the day before. We were like, "Hey, it's Memorial Weekend. If you can't get home, you don't have to come in the house. If you don't want to, bring your own Tupperware. We can put it outside. Just make it really kind of COVID safe and friendly." And we got a ton of responses.
Yeah.
And we're like, maybe this will be something we can do. So we started a sign up page where they could put their year, and we can send an email blast.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about that really quick. The sign up process is we have a document and a link through our Instagram, and the kids put their name, their email, their phone number, because we have a text blast that is
optional, and realistically they just prefer texting.
And then where they go to school, what year they are, because we do have graduate students who come as well. And then if they are willing to drive to 5 Points, because we open up our homes to them.
And we tell them they can bring roommates, which a lot of times makes them more comfortable. So we've done a couple of these now. Our sign up list is over 150 students. We were going to do it maybe once a month. And then we realized, okay, we can't really fund this. Like, we need to find a way to like get the community involved and let others help out. Just kind of talking with neighbors and whatnot that went to NC State or Duke or UNC that like wanted to be involved. So we opened a GoFundMe, and within like 2 days, it was $1,500. So we're like, okay, we can definitely do more of these. So now we're trying to get at least 2 a month, 3 a month if we can. We both
every other weekend. Yeah, we both work full time. Tom does medical sales. I'm a flight attendant. So this is definitely like a passion project on the side for us.
So we try to do them on Sundays so we can prep on Saturdays. Like I said, we've got over 150 students signed up, and that's just in the summer. Right now we're getting 30, 40-ish kids coming at a time that are signing up that can make it. We always get responses, hey, I'm not there yet, but I signed up, can't wait for the school year. So we know when the school year comes, it's definitely going to take off even more than it has already. What's also interesting is like, when most of the time when you go to a college like function that says free food, like people lay out pizzas and things like that. I mean, that was our experience.
That was our experience in college.
So all of these meals are actually tailored to her diet. So it is PCOS friendly, gluten-free and dairy-free, no sugars added, all natural ingredients. We make our own sauces, marinades, we all make from scratch, which has also brought a lot of students who have those dietary restrictions to come and actually ask Rachael for advice, which has been cool. And we want it to be a home cooked meal. We want what we've found just from meeting these students and talking to them. Some students just need a break. Some students transferred or came here and it was COVID and it was online learning. They literally haven't met anybody. And some of their families are out of the country or from California and are just exchanging for the first time with other students in our kitchen.
Some of the grad student who she works like 3 jobs and
she hadn't had a meal in like a day and a half. And
like,
I thought she was going to break down crying in front of us.
Yeah. So the kids are coming for all different reasons, which I think is really cool.
And all different schools. We've had Meredith. What's the
Meredith, UNC,
Duke,
State. And then there's another one of the smaller ones. I forget.
I'm blanking on the names.
Yeah,
we're not from here. We just don't know them all great yet. But I think that's what's really. They definitely all come for different reasons. They bring friends. This last time, our kitchen ended up full in our family room where people just stood and talked and got to know each other.
Yeah. So it became like a community almost that we were like fostering with them. But yeah.
So right now, I guess we're excited to share it with you. We know there's students out there who definitely need it. Myself, I use the example, like I was super fortunate. I played football. I had a scholarship. We had cooks, and I still remember my sophomore year calling my brother-in-law, breaking down crying because college can just be too much at times. You feel alone. And luckily there was a place I could go to where they had cereal 24 hours and people would study, and there was great mentors around that I got to meet that still mentor me. And food just has that break, I think, in life. And like for Rachael, obviously being 10 hours away from home and having a family she can go see during holidays, that gave her that. So we just, moving forward, we'd love to do this more often. We would like to get students who really need it involved, but also we don't highlight that. This is strictly, we don't care why you need the meal. We just want to give you a good home cooked meal that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Bringing Tom and Rachael here today, I wanted to open this up as a bit of a discussion. One of the things that we had discussed when I met with them the first time was, they have this huge following nationally, and they have this great group of students that they've already started to connect with. But that our group, CRC, has all 6 colleges in the city of Raleigh. And so any suggestions that you have for them, questions that you have for them for meals to go, I'd love to share the form. Tom and Rachael, if you could drop it in the chat or send it to me, I will get it out so that if you have students who may need an opportunity like this or would like to share this with students, I believe that you are open to having more students sign up at this time.
How do we click the chat?
I can't, yeah, we had to switch to our phone, so the chats.
No worries. You're getting some comments, go app for you, Rachel, and that this is an important service. They're really excited and love the effort you're putting into it. Does anyone have questions specifically about the Meals to Go program while we have Tom and Rachel here as we're going into the fall semester? If this is something that you'd like to share with your students, I'd love to make sure you have all the information you need. And feel free to come on camera, off on mic, drop it in the chat. Do you advertise what you're serving ahead of time?
So, and I see the other one, how can we help with funding? So we'll get to both of those. A week before the meal, I'll send out, we use a text, one of those like reply, yes or no, stop. You know, you might get those automated texts from different services. We have one of those apps where all the students are loaded. And we also have an email distribution list. A week before, I'll send out what the meal's going to be, ask if there's any very specific restrictions, such as maybe vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, because I'll always tailor it if we need to, but they always know it'll be gluten-free and dairy-free. So we'll send that out a week before. We'll also post it on our Instagram story page to keep it going. And then 2 days before, I'll ask again and get an RSVP. And then the day before, I'll do the same. And again, I always ask them, you know, if you want to bring people or add people, go ahead. So that's how we advertise it. We try to do things seasonally. I also share we have a GoFundMe that's also in the bio and on the TikTok, and we'll be able to share that later. It's over $3,000 now. So we've been able to also pay for Tupperware so we can give them extra Tupperware to go. It helps pay for the app. And then I also share with our donors exactly what I'm buying. I try to be for example, this last meal was, we did 40 pounds of pulled pork, 40 pounds of pulled chicken. I smoked both of them. We did
a local farm.
We had a local farm that brought more squash than we know what to do with.
There was so much squash that they donated to us.
I made a marinade for that and asparagus. So anyways, it all cost about $200. And what it came out to be was just under $5 per student. So I share that with our donors. And I also plan on sharing that more with the students because a lot of them ask, how do we eat healthy on a budget? Well, we can feed 40, 50 kids for under $200. We want to make sure you guys can see that. So like, rather than buying chicken breast that's boneless and skinless and $18 a pack, buy the whole chicken and I'll teach you how to break it down. So teaching and showing that piece is something we want to grow to.
Yeah.
We're kind of taking it one step at a time here. So the GoFundMe is how we pay for it. We're very lean. I was trying to do ribs, but ribs were like 20 bucks a rack. So I went with pork butt, which was $8 for like 12 pounds. Yeah.
So, hi, love what you're doing. I had a couple thoughts and questions. My name is Annika. I'm with NC State. And I was actually just co-presenting in the earlier session about food and housing insecurity on campus and some things that we are doing to address those issues. So one idea that I had is we have a food pantry on campus, and I know our nutritionist on campus who works with dining has done some cooking events and things like that, just like what you were just talking about how to cook on the budget. So if that might be a partnership opportunity that you would be open to with your social media following, because sometimes we've had a hard time getting a whole lot of participation in some of those events. But we've often done stuff where we can order things specifically into the food pantry, like recipe kits and things like that, and then have an event to show students how to prepare that food, and particularly thinking about things like microwave brownies and stuff like that that could potentially be made in a dorm room if somebody really needed to and didn't have a full kitchen at their disposal. So that was one thought. And then my other question is, any advice that you would have? So we have some other initiatives that we're doing on campus, specifically around a host homes concept of trying to match students experiencing housing insecurity with local community members who have a spare room and are willing to take in a student for a temporary period of time. We would love to get some more just buzz and social media traction. So any suggestions as to how to kind of get the word out about some of these other initiatives that are happening on campus, both to students as well as to other community members who may be able to participate and volunteer or donate?
Yeah, well, we can talk about the farm, kind of how they had their. So one thing, and this is just a brainstorm, obviously, but we're also reaching out to, we have a lot of brands that reach out to us and want to send us products and things just because of our social media following. So we're looking for, we're going to start kind of reaching out to them to ask if they want to sponsor these things or give giveaways to students. The farm that donated things has an initiative they're looking at, and they were talking about just writing up a postcard or like a sticker, and we would give that with their Tupperware. So things of that nature, where it's amazing how like social media and how these kids spread the word themselves once you get them rolling, and they're excited. I mean, they like can't wait for the next TikTok to see if they make it. But that's just like one quick idea. Is we're definitely open to kind of like sponsoring, where if we had a tote or to-go bag or with their Tupperware, leaving them with information.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers that, but that's just one idea we've had of trying to get other things involved.
I would say social media, like, I guess, yeah, what Tom was saying is like a way for like to be able to sponsor or give us something that my best advice for you would be social media.
These kids use social media like it's wild to me. Even I'm 34, so when I started my social media page, like I don't know how to use it. I didn't know it would recommend that Rachel would find me. When they meet in our kitchen, they don't exchange phone numbers. They exchange Instagrams and Instagrams. That's how they text each other today. So just from the perspective of like keeping up with them, like I send out a text and sometimes I'll get a mass text and then we'll put it on our story when the meal is, and I'll get a DM and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I'm coming. I'm like, you didn't see the text and email that's on the phone you're looking at?
Creating like a story around what you're doing and blasting that through social media. Everyone like relates to a story. I think that's why my videos have done so well, because it's not like, it's telling the story of how we have this college kid and what it's evolved into, and I'm showing the process of how it's growing. And I think people love to be a part of something bigger than themselves and watch something grow. So that would be like my advice for social media, is like turn it into a story and kind of what you're doing, and not just we're having a dinner, but like give something like a story for people to relate to.
And then do you have any more questions on that? That's kind of our high level. And we can connect with you on the side one-on-one. Might be worth a call or grabbing a coffee somewhere. And you obviously know a lot more about campus that might help us out with our ideas.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to connect.
I dropped your Instagram handle and a link to your Instagram, as well as the form to share with students for meals to go in the chat. So everybody, please feel free to grab those. I also dropped the videos from the Today Show and the Rachael Ray Show. If you want to learn more about why Tom and Rachel went viral, and then also the TikToks that I showed at the beginning, if you'd like to check that out. We did have a question come in. Is there a way to volunteer, help prepare, clean, or pack food? I love this idea. Would love to have had this at App State.
Yeah, so that's something we're toying with right now. So we want to involve the students. We definitely have some that make everyone feel comfortable. And now that we've had students that come 3 or 4 times and they're comfortable, they really welcome everybody else. Kevin last time actually helped me with prep, and we've had several of the students ask if they can help with prep. So I think we're going to kind of do a champion program where we invite other students in, but we have a couple that I've trained and really let them help with the prep to give back to their other students. It's been pretty evident they want to like help each other.
Yeah.
And that can also give me a chance to kind of teach them some things. We're also eventually wanting to do like actual formal dinners where we have tables set out and they can all meet and sit, and we'll like cook to order. And we would have like a cooking class beforehand so that they can kind of see what we're doing. And we would want to tailor it towards, again, easy things they could do themselves that are affordable, but also very healthy. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We have, like, gratefully, so many people asking to like help prep or kind of get their hands involved. That might come down the road. Right now, we're kind of trying to just use the students and keep it ourselves as best we can. We'll definitely be open for that as we go. Like, we're probably going to have to do several blocks at a time. We've been even looking like if there's areas where like a kitchen would be open, if we could do a bigger dinner, that would be, you know, where that might be like an event where we could have other people showing other resources on campus or something like that. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We're definitely open to it. Right now, the easiest way to help is obviously the GoFundMe, so it's not sort of resources don't feel limited. And the more
Spreading the word is, I think, that's like,
spreading the word, getting it to students that need it. And again, we're never going to advertise it like, hey, if you need a meal, it's community. So I think you guys might have a better hand in that. I was a teacher only for 2 years, but I know how much students get involved with their teachers and how they reach out and how important that can be. So spreading the word is, I mean, something that's very important. I can tell you the kids coming here are like leaders of the future. It gives me like hope. We get so fired up listening to them talk about their plans and what they're going to be bringing in. It's really amazing.
I think the other really important thing too to highlight is, you know, the students who are food insecure, that's sometimes a tough thing to admit. And there's a sense of pride associated with being able to take care of yourself, and food is just one of those basic necessities. So I think what Tom and Rachael is doing is also providing an opportunity for students who maybe don't or aren't ready to admit, you know, I'm struggling, to just go and have a fun time. They're with students that are from all different walks of life, and they're just there to get some food and hang out. So I think advertising it like that as well, not as much of a charity event, even though it can be very helpful, but more of a, here's this really cool social event with these local TikTok celebrities that you can go and hang out and meet their dog Odin and see the chickens and do all of that fun stuff.
We've had them come in and FaceTime other friends and be like, we're at the Sullivans, which was really cool. They've met the chickens, many of them.
Well, I'm jealous. At some point, I need to come meet Odin and the chickens. We did have a chat come in that NC State does have a teaching kitchen in their new wellness center. So there could be opportunities to collaborate there. So Annika and any of our NC State friends on this call, if you have more information about that you can share with Tom and Rachael, check them out on Instagram, message them there, just like the students do. A great way to connect with them. Any other questions about Meals to Go or any suggestions for Tom and Rachael in student outreach? You know, obviously social media has been a very impactful way for them to meet people. I had no idea they were in Raleigh. I was just on TikTok one night scrolling through because I'm a millennial and saw this awesome video. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I looked at their page and realized that college kid Kevin was at NC State. And that initiated me wanting to reach out to them to say, hey, this is really awesome. I can find you college students. So. I'll give it a minute for any other questions or comments. Feel free to pop on. Tom and Rachel, thank you so much for joining the session today. We'll absolutely share your information and get that out there. And I think that our institutions would love to help spread the word about this, because it's such a cool opportunity for students to build community here in the city of Raleigh.
Yeah, I think we're doing some recruiting too, because we get all these jokes that, hey, I'm going to NC State. So
Yeah, we're recruiting for these colleges.
also, I want to add mealssheeats@gmail.com is our email. We check it daily too. And some people are, I'm an email person because that's my livelihood, but we do get to every DM. So if you go that route.
Just pop that email into the chat as well if you guys want to take that down. We're going to end a little bit early. I want to go ahead and thank Tom and Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us. We will absolutely keep in touch. We will follow along with your story and checking out your meals to go on Instagram and TikTok. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
you
much
all.
for having us. We really appreciate it.
Have a good day.